Yo. Hey, what's happening? Hey, I'm sorry I'm late. This is all new to me. Streaming is not my forte or my forte. So this may be a little ghetto for the first time that we do it. But I'm here. I'm trying to answer questions because I get a lot of emails. I get a lot of comments. It's just really hard for me to keep up with all of this stuff now. So I'm trying my best, y'all, to try to answer y'all stuff. So I want to give y'all that time. We'll be going live for about the next hour. So I try to answer as many questions as I can in that time. And we're gonna go ahead and start now. I see y'all already getting active in the comment section. So if y'all got any questions, just hit me up and I'll try to do my best to answer those. Okay. All right. I see. What's up? What's up, Jody? What's good? Space Force here. What's happening? Just want to say I watch your videos while in the depth, and they didn't prepare me for BMT at all whatsoever. But it's all good because I'm in tech school. Is special warfare worth it? That's a hard question, man. Because I've never done special warfare, so I can't really answer that. It's really gonna come down to your own personal desires, your own personal goals. If you want something hardcore, if you want to do something way bigger than yourself, then yeah. But if you want kind of something like a job, like a normal 9 to 5, then maybe not. So it really come down to your own personal goals and desires. Did they lessen the ADHD restrictions? Yes, they did. So ADHD used to be crazy to get into the Air Force with. But recently, I believe, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's 60 days now. Basically, you have to be off medication for the last 60 days. If you can prove that and get those medical records, then you can go ahead and start your process with 60 days of no medication. So, yeah. Do you guys recruit Space Force Honor Guard from the recruiting station? Current Space Force Honor Guard. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know that. I know that they recruit active duty Air Force from the recruiting station into Honor Guard. I do not know if they're recruiting Space Force directly into Honor Guard. Sorry, that's out of my wheelhouse. What's the life like as a 3E5X1? What is a 3E5X1? Let's Google that. And I can't tell you, even if I did know what a 3X5X1 was, I can't tell you what the lifestyle is like. Engineering. So those are the people who perform the civil engineering, design, drafting, surveying, and contract surveillance. So I'm sorry, I've never worked in the 3E career fields. So I don't know what they're doing day to day. That's a question you can probably find on Reddit. If you went to Reddit, I think it's called Air Force Recruits. There's a page out there. There's probably somebody in there who worked in 3E who can tell you what that lifestyle is like. I wouldn't be able to give it fair justice. I'm sorry. I'm trying to answer y'all's questions. Y'all want some specific stuff. Hello, Jody. I hope you're having a good day. Do military members still get paid when the government shuts down? Yes. In my experience now, you gotta go off my experience. I've been I was in the Air Force for 19 years. Every time there was a threat of government shutdown, and they actually did shut down, they never stopped paying the military members. So I've never not gotten a check for 19 years. I've got my check every 1st and 15th. So yes, it is possible though that they don't pay the military, but they always do. So I don't think that's something you got to worry about. Hey, I go to MEPS this upcoming week, Thursday, Friday. I want to go to basic as soon as possible. What do you think the shortest amount possible would be? So you can make it short, or you could try to make it short. The only way you're going to make it short to go to basic training as soon as possible is if you tell your recruiter that you're trying to quick ship. A quick ship basically means that you really don't care what job you get, because there's always somebody who's supposed to be going to basic training, but something may happen, like they get hurt, they get pregnant, they get in trouble with the law, something happens to where they can't go to basic training, and then their job becomes available for somebody to take. That is a quick ship. So if you tell your recruiter that you're interested in taking a quick ship, depending on if somebody can't make it to basic training, like let's say next week, you could be in basic training next week if you do a quick ship. That's the quickest way to get into basic training. Can you cross train into a different job while you're in the Air Force? Yes, I am a cross trainee. So I joined the Air Force originally. I joined back in 2006. I told my recruiter, I said, look, the only thing I don't want to do is work on aircrafts. I don't want to be a maintainer at all, because I wasn't a maintainer. I thought that I wanted to work like at a desk or do something like that. So my recruiter was like, yeah. You know, take an electrical aptitude area, and then you can like work with like, you know, electrical stuff like engineering, things like that, STEM careers and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll be cool with that. I get to basic training, and they had 3 jobs available for that electrical aptitude area. That's kind of how aptitude areas work. You get to basic training, and then they show you what's available in that aptitude. For me at that time, there was only 3 jobs available in that electrical aptitude area. I think it was like avionics. It was like working with telephone poles, and then it was like E&E, electrical and environmental. And I looked at that like it was something to do with outdoors. You know, it says environmental, so I thought, you know, maybe I'm gonna be working with environmental stuff. Come to find out, I get to tech school, and in the first block of that tech school, they're showing us what wrenches are, what screwdrivers are, and I'm like, hold on, what's going on? Like, I said that I didn't want to be a maintainer, and they were like, well, here you are. So I had said at that point, you know what, cool, whatever, I'm in the Air Force, but when it comes time for me to cross train, I will. So at the 13-month mark before your contract ends is when you can apply to cross train. So 13 months out before you get out, you can apply to cross train. You put in a package and just hope you get accepted. I've cross trained 3 times. So I went to Intel, and then after that I went to recruiting. So it's definitely possible to cross train. Sorry, I gave you a long-winded answer. Jody was in maintenance, not CE. Thank you. Thank you. I can't tell you what CE was like. Just hit senior airman. Congratulations. And about to hit that 3 years total time in service. I'm ready for this next pay bump. Yes, sir. So I just made a video breaking down how the new members get that additional 10% for the young members in the Air Force. So you got that new bump. This should happen in April. And then when you throw on your senior airman stripes, you're going to get paid for that too. So you're going to see a nice little bump when you get that raise. Congrats. Are cyber jobs competitive in the Air Force? How long does it take to get a job in the field? Ooh, my camera went out. Hold on. See, I told you I was going to be ghetto. Hold up. Okay, we back. All right. So cyber jobs. Cyber jobs are a highly sought after type of career. A lot of people want them. So that means that those cyber careers are not as available. But the pro about the cyber jobs is that they're harder to qualify for because they require higher ASVAB scores, and they also require top secret clearances. So even though there's not that many of them, if you qualify for them, there's not that many people who qualify. So you have a better chance of getting a job like that. So not to say that you will get a job like that, but it's possible to get a cyber job. Hey, Jofi, Jofy. I know you lying. In previous videos, you use Forever Wingman for AFSC jobs, but is there a newer resource for this? I really want to know what career fields go where so I don't waste spaces on my dream sheet. I still recommend Forever Wingman. I haven't looked at that website in a while, but I'm pretty sure that it's being maintained and is being updated. I still feel like that is the go-to website for looking at research for any AFSC that you're going into. If I'm wrong, y'all can drop it in the comments, but as I know right now, it's still being maintained and updated. Excuse me. I have 3 IT certifications: A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus. What are the chances of getting an IT job or cybersecurity in the Air Force? Okay, so now not only do you better your chances with those 3 certifications, but there's also a possibility. I don't have the list. Oh, I wish I had the list. Excuse me. I made a video before though. I don't remember what it was. One of the bonus videos. There's a bonus video that I made, and I actually put on the screen the different certifications. Some of those certifications can get you in the door as E4. You can come into the Air Force as an E4, senior airman. So if you have those certifications, not only are we looking for those and they better your chances of getting a cyber job, but you can also come in with some additional rank. Most of the certifications will get you in the rank as an E3, but there are some that'll get you in as an E4. You can watch that video. It's like, I think I did it back in like 2023. It was a 2023 bonus video or something like that. And it showed some of the certifications and which ones can get you what rank. So I would say go watch that and see if any of those ones that you mentioned can get you that rank. But yes, just the certifications alone, we're looking for those, and you'll get what they call a competency booking. Because you have the certifications, they know that you're competent to do the job, so they're going to put you as a priority to get that job because of your competency. So yeah, talk to your recruiter about it. Hey Jody, I recently developed strong interest in the military, and I'm currently in the delayed entry program waiting for my job. Can you explain the job search process for recruiters' point of view and how the jobs are prioritized? So y'all all need to hear this. The recruiter really doesn't have anything to do with how you get your job. The recruiter is the middleman. So basically you create a job list. Most of the recruiters say that you have to list 10. Some recruiters say 15. Some say 20. Depends on whatever area and what squadron you're getting recruited from. The recruiter is the middleman. They're going to submit your job list to their leadership. Their leadership is going to take your job list, and there's 2 different ways that they can get you a job. There's this machine called an optimizer. It's not a machine. I just call it a machine, but it's basically like a software. It's called the optimizer. It's going to look at everybody who's joining out of that squadron. The squadron is basically the entire enterprise for the area of where you're getting recruited from. This optimizer is going to basically have everybody's job list, and it's going to look and see what jobs the squadron has available for recruitment. And based off of everybody's list, this thing is just going to match people to the jobs. It's an automated process. It has nothing to do with no people are involved. It's just a machine. Some squadrons still do it the old way, where the leaders are sitting down and they're kind of just looking at lists, and they're looking at what's available and just matching people to what's available. But the recruiter is not involved in that process. The recruiter is just the one who gives them that list. So if you're trying to figure out how you're going to get a job, like the job process is kind of out of your hands. All I would say is just make your list competitive. Like ask your recruiter to see the jobs that are most commonly getting booked out of their squadron. And if you make your list out of those type of jobs, you'll get a job. But if you have jobs that aren't on that list, you're probably not going to get a job for some time. Hopefully that makes sense. Can I live by myself when I come out of tech school if I am over the age of 20? Unfortunately not, unless there's a couple ways you can live by yourself coming out of tech school. If you go to a location that doesn't have dorms, some locations just don't have dorms, or some of the locations have a dorm that's crowded and they don't have space. And then maybe you can find your way off the base, but that's very rare, so don't count on it. But also, and I'm not encouraging you to do this. Please, please, please don't do this just because it is a way to get out of the dorms. But people can get married and then they don't have to live in the dorms. They're going to let you and your spouse live off base or on base if you choose. But most likely you're going to be in those dorms and you'll be in them. Most of the time, the rules are 3 years and hitting senior airmen. So most people are in the dorms for an average of 3 years. Have you worked with recruits that have had immigrant parents? And if so, how was that? Yeah, that's not really a problem. As long as you have your citizenship, if you have your citizenship in America, it's fine. If you don't have your citizenship in America, you're going to have an I-551, basically a green card to show that you have some type of, what do they call it? Residency here. But your illegal immigrant parents, they don't affect your actual process. Now, they can affect you getting a top secret security clearance. It'll just hold your process up a little bit longer, but you can join. Okay, y'all moving. It's starting to get a little busy, a little active. Have you worked? Okay, can you tell us anything about aerospace medical jobs? All I can tell you is that they hard to get. Any type of medical career field is tough. It's not easy to get into medical because it's just highly demanded, and the Air Force just doesn't have that many jobs. So banking on getting a medical job you're going to be disappointed. What I can say though is the main way that people get into a medical job, the most I guess efficient way of getting a medical job is taking an open general or a general aptitude area contract. The reason why is because when you get to basic training, they have a lot of medical jobs at basic training that the squadrons don't have. This is not a guarantee that you're going to get a medical job if you take one. You can get to basic training and get put into like supply or something like that. But majority of people who are getting medical jobs are getting them out of basic training from aptitude areas. Hey, Jody, I have a master's degree in public administration and I want a commission. What jobs would I qualify for? So I know that you can qualify for pretty much the regular officer jobs with any degree. There's no degree that's going to keep you out of the regular Air Force jobs. But there are specific career fields like engineering, being like a doctor, being like a nurse, working in some of the STEM programs, being a lawyer, those type of careers. You must have the degree for those careers. I don't know if public administration is one of those careers that you need that specific degree to work in. I don't even know what careers are available for public administration. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell you. You would have to go on the internet and start searching what public administration careers the Air Force has and if they require your specific degree. But the way the officer process works, if you have a degree, you basically kind of apply, and then whatever jobs that the Air Force has available at that time, kind of like the enlisted process, like you're going to figure out a job that you're going to get. Unless you go into like flying, if you go into the pilot jobs, if you go into, like I said earlier, the lawyer, STEM careers like that, then you will know you're going into your specific career field. But beyond that, it's kind of tough to figure out what job you're going to come in as. Reddit is the best source because AFSCs constantly change. Forever Wingman isn't compatible for mobile phones. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought my tech school was going to be 63 days, but now it's 110 days. Yo, was that a change that was that something new, or you just were misinformed? Because from 63 to 110, that's crazy. That's more than half a year. When you start counting in the weekend, it's probably right around a half a year when you start counting weekends and stuff. Is there any chance you would be able to post videos more frequently? I love your content, very informative and entertaining. Really made me consider Air Force. Thanks. This is why I'm going live, y'all. Like, it is hard. Like I have kids. Like, I got a whole life. I got a kid who's 18 years old. He's going off into college. I got a 16-year-old and I got a 6-year-old. So they all got stuff going on. So I'm a family man first. I got a whole career. And, you know, I'm 19 years in the Air Force. I got this YouTube that I'm managing as well, and just a bunch of other things that I got my hand in. Making videos is tough, y'all. That's why I decided I would go live and see how this works out, because it's less. Like, I could just go live after an hour. I can stop. I gave y'all some value, answered some questions, and it didn't take the whole process of creating a video, scripting a video, recording it, editing, all of that stuff. So I want to make more. I want to start making this more and more consistent. Y'all just got to bear with me. It take a lot of time. That being said, I got 4 videos in the pipeline right now, so stay tuned. Hey, Jody, I'm currently waiting to get shipped out with aerospace propulsion. What have you heard about that job? I used to work with aerospace propulsion. We called them jets. I worked right beside them. So I was electrical and environmental. We worked right next door. Like, they were right there. Jet engine mechanics. They were like our brothers. So I always kind of felt like we were all the same. Like, because we were considered specialists. So crew chiefs, you got crew chiefs, and then you have specialists. Specialists would be like your electrical and environmental, your propulsion, your avionics, your weapons. Those are all specialists. And then crew chiefs, you know, they're kind of in a league of their own, and they act like it too. They act like they're better than people. But jets is real cool, real laid back. At least in my experience, real laid back people. And they would basically go out there and repair the engines. So they would either fix them or they would remove them and reinstall like a new engine. So it's pretty cool working with jets. I kind of missed that, honestly. Like, if I could go back and do my career all over again, I probably would have never cross-trained out of maintenance. Air Force crypto linguist will get you E3 by first duty station. You might be a E4 by the first duty station in linguist. Usually that comes with long training and a 6-year active duty enlistment. Yeah, so the crypto linguist career fields, those are a long career or a long school. You're gonna be in school for a long time, and they require a high ASVAB score as well. So you just got to be up for that if you go into a linguist type of career. We had a guy when I was in E&E, when I was in electrical environmental. He made it all the way to the last day of linguist school, and apparently at the end of linguist school, you got to take a nation test, or like a DOD test or something like that. It's outside of the Air Force. It's testing your competency outside of the Air Force course that you went to. And if you don't pass that test, then you cannot be a linguist. And he failed that test. Like, he finished a whole 2.5-year course, failed that test. And then he had to start tech school in E&E, and he shows up to E&E tech school as an E4. And we were like, what? Like, how the hell are you an E4? And you're still in tech school. He was cool though. If he's watching, shout out to Sheldon. Hey Jody, how many college credits do you need to enter as an E2? So you would need 20 college credits to come in as an E2. 20 to 44 college credits will get you E2. Once you hit 45 or more, you can come in as an E3. And there's nothing, like, if you have a bachelor's degree, you're still coming as an E3 unless you decide to commission. But there's no extra rank for you to go past E3 unless you get those certifications I was kind of talking about earlier, the cyber certifications. Hello, sir. Hello. How do you get into recruiting? So right now is the time to get into recruiting. They're letting senior airmen, E3, E4s into recruiting. They're getting a lot of E4s in the recruiting schoolhouse. So basically, what I hear for E5s and above, it's considered a DSD, a developmental special duty, and your leadership basically has to recommend you to be to do a developmental special duty. And for senior airmen, they're doing the DSDs, as well as I hear that they're also allowing them to apply through AMS, I believe, Airman Management System, Assignment Management System. I don't know what AMS stands for, but I hear that there's two ways. They can apply through that system or they get the DSD process. But we've been seeing a lot of senior airmen go into the recruiting schoolhouse. So if you want to be a recruiter, just talk to your leadership. Tell them like, hey, I would love to be a recruiter. How do I go about the DSD process? And if they like you and they want to see you go off and prosper, they can push you into the recruiting career field. So I just want to ask, I got a job and already leaving March 11th. Looks like my job needs a top secret clearance. What if I don't qualify? What's going to be next on that? Yo, so this is something that I would recommend to everybody. Top secret clearances, they're not really hard to get. However, what happens to people with their top secret clearances is they may have not told all of the truth to their recruiter, right? So when they get to basic training, that's when they continue your top secret clearance process. You're going to sit down with somebody at basic training and they're going to try to shake you. They're going to try to make you, come clean because they're like, hey, we're going to find it. We're getting the top secret clearance. So they're going to ask you, is there anything that you need to tell us? And that's where people not only don't get their top secret clearances, but get kicked out of the Air Force is because they start telling all these things that they didn't tell their recruiter in basic training. They won't even let you stay in. So if you have a job that you will get a top secret clearance and there's something like maybe drug use, you told your recruiter that you only smoked marijuana 2 times, but then when you get to basic training, you're like, actually, I smoked like 400 times. That can get you kicked out. If you say, actually, I did do cocaine or I did whatever drugs, that can get you kicked out. So if you feel like you have something that's going to run you into that situation in basic training, you need to be honest with your recruiter, or you just need to be honest with need to be honest with your recruiter. Hey Jody, shipping out to BMT April 29th, thanks to you. What does the moving process after tech school to your first duty station look like for a married airman? Okay, so when you're moving from when you're moving as a married person, it's two things. There's two things that can happen. If your tech school is 20 weeks or longer, your spouse can come to your tech school location with you, and they can give you housing at the tech school location. You all can live there. You may could move all your stuff there. I probably wouldn't, because then you're gonna have to move again after you graduate that tech school. But when you get to your new location, the Air Force actually moves all your stuff. You have to go to TMO, transportation. I don't know what TMO stands for, but there's a career where they basically help you coordinate your move, and they'll ask you, do you want to move your stuff yourself, or do you want to have a moving company come out and do it? I would recommend, a lot of people say move it yourself because there's potential for you to get paid more money. But I say get the moving company, just because I'm old, man. Like my back, my legs, everything start hurting when we move. So I just rather get a moving company to do it all. But there will be a moving company that comes out, packs your house up, puts it all in the truck. You give them the address of where you're moving to. They'll unpack it, put it in your house. So that's why I like it. Like they do, it's everything, and it's free. So that's how it works. Hey Jody, I've been binge watching your vids and I'm loving them. Waiting on a recruiter to call me. Sometimes these recruiters be busy and they don't call. Is just because they're extra busy. So if you're trying to make that process happen quicker, you might want to call that recruiter to let them know, like, hey, it's me. I'm trying to make it happen. Let's get it started. Should I go open general like my recruiter is suggesting? I don't really care when I ship out, but faster would be better than waiting for a job on my list. I guess I'm a little confused on this one. So your recruiter is saying that you should take a general aptitude, but you don't care. You ship out faster. If you're in that, I don't care, I just want to go. then waiting on a general aptitude area could be a little while. You may be waiting like 3-4 months for a general aptitude. But if you're in this space of, you know what, like, hey, just give me a job, like I leave, then you can talk to your recruiter and be like, yo, I'm not married to the general aptitude area. I'll leave in whatever. And then your recruiter could probably get you out a little quicker. Yo, Jody, I'm set up for my MEPS. My recruiter told me about the needs of the Air Force. Does that mean, hold up. I'm set up for my MEPS. My recruiter told me about the needs of the Air Force. Does that mean I'm still able to get one of the jobs I'm going to list? Okay, I'm with you. So no, or yes. So when they talk about the needs of the Air Force, what that means when the recruiter says the needs of the Air Force is basically like if you go to Walmart, right? And Walmart says we are currently hiring for a cashier, we're hiring for some people to stock our shelves, and we're hiring for an assistant manager position. That's all we're hiring for. That is the needs of Walmart. So when a recruiter says the needs of Air Force, they're talking about the list of jobs that the Air Force is looking for at this time. So if you go to your recruiter and they show you the list of the jobs that the Air Force is hiring for, they're saying that you should make your list off of that. And that's going to be the way that you get into the Air Force quicker. So that is the needs of the Air Force. So if you're going to make a list that doesn't have any of the needs of the Air Force on it, then it's going to put you one, like when I recruited, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't play that like you. This is my job. My job is to put people into the Air Force and meet the Air Force's needs. Like I'm trying to get the Air Force the customers that it is looking for. So I can't say, hey, Air Force, I have somebody, but they don't want to do what you want to do. I'm trying to get them into the job that the Air Force is looking for. So if you come to me and you say, yeah, I don't want to do those jobs, then for me, I'm not going to work you. I'm going to be like, hey, I'm working people who are trying to meet the needs of the Air Force. But there's some recruiters, I'm going to be honest with you. There's some recruiters out there who like, whatever, list whatever you want. That doesn't mean that you're going to get it. That means that you can list it and you're probably going to be waiting in a delayed entry program for 12 months, maybe not even get a job. So I would say talk to your recruiter. If you're a recruiter saying that you can make a list of whatever you want to create and it has nothing to do with the needs of the Air Force, go ahead and do it. But finding a recruiter like that is going to be very hard for you to find that recruiter. And just because you can find a recruiter, that does not mean that that recruiter is hooking you up or whatever. Usually when a recruiter just lets you just list whatever you want, that recruiter's not doing their job effectively. So you just happen to find a recruiter who wasn't doing their job as well as they should have been, because the job of the recruiter is to find the customer for what the Air Force is looking for. It's that plain and simple. How often do recruiters get new lists of jobs, and typically how many jobs are in a list once you receive the list? So the squadron, so the recruiter works for a squadron, and the squadron works for a group, and the group works for the Air Force. So the Air Force tells the group, hey, we have this many jobs. The group goes to its squadrons and say, hey, I need these jobs filled. The squadrons go to their recruiters and say, hey, here's a list of the jobs that we need filled for this month. And it happens every month. On that list of jobs, there should be about 100 jobs. You should be seeing about 100 jobs around 100 jobs on any squadron that you go to, their monthly list. It should be roughly around 100 plus or minus 20 jobs, plus or minus 30 jobs. So you're going to see those jobs once every month. Remember that that list, that 100 jobs, is also split between however many recruiters it's in that squadron. When I was recruiting, I think we had about 50 recruiters in my squadron. So you had 100 jobs to 50 recruiters. And we're all trying to get the applicants that we're working, we're all trying to get them a job off of this list of 100. So that's when it starts getting hard for recruiters to find jobs or to get the applicants the number one job that they wanted, is because everybody's fighting off of this one list of 100 jobs. And when you don't have anything on this list, like when you went into La La Land and listed whatever you wanted, you can't find you a job. So the second part of your question, it says, am I a list? How many jobs are in a list once you receive the list? Okay. I guess I answered that, but your recruiters are going to make you create a list as well. So like I say, I used to make my applicants create a list of 10 jobs. Some recruiters are doing 10, some doing 15, some are doing 20. It all depends. And then off of that list, they'll submit it up, and then hopefully you get a job. All right. I really want to join, but they won't let me because I was on ADHD meds. No. So like I said earlier in the video, they just started allowing people they're expediting people who were on ADHD meds to get into the Air Force. Back when I recruited, back in 2016, that time frame, it was like if you were on ADHD meds, you have to wait like 2 years off of ADHD meds to start the process. Now they're just saying wait 60 days. But here's some game for you all. If you are on ADHD meds, you also want to bring your transcripts. The best thing to really help somebody get in is if you're still in high school. If you're in high school, like let's say you're in your junior year and you're on ADHD meds, the best thing that can help that junior is if they stop doing the ADHD meds and then they can show like when I stopped using this medication in my junior year and my senior year, no medication, these are my grades. Let's say that you were a 3.5 GPA as a junior, and then in your senior year, without any medication, you were still a 3.5 GPA. The Air Force is going to look at that like, oh, you're fine. But if you're a 3.5 GPA, you stop taking your meds and you drop down to like a 2.1, they're going to say, nah, unfortunately, it looks like there's a situation there that you may need medication for. So that's the best way to kind of prove that you don't need your ADHD medication. But beyond that, you can get letters from your bosses. Like if you have a job, you can get your boss to write a letter about your attention at the job, your attention to detail. You can get your teachers to write letters and what kind of student you are. And those will just help your case when you're trying to get approved for ADHD. So no, ADHD does not just stop you from joining. So if you can get your medical records, your prescription records, and any type of letters that can help your case, I say get those and take them to your recruiter, and they should be able to hook you up. Do security forces work outside in the extreme cold weather conditions? If so, how do they keep warm? So I am not security forces, but I can tell you, yes, they do. And the only reason why I can tell you that is because when I ride through a gate to get onto a base, I see security forces and they are out there standing, checking ID cards for people on the base. That's what like new security forces members do. They make you work a base, basically secure the base. But there's also bases called like nuclear bases, and they do a lot of outdoors too because they're providing security for the nuclear weapons. So there's a lot of outdoor activity with security forces. But they do have these like little machines that provide heat, and they'll stand next to these machines. It's decent. It's going to provide heat so you don't freeze, but it can still be cold, and it can still be hot in the summertime. So yes, you are going to get all the outdoor environment and extremities if you go into security forces. I've been off for 2 months. Like off work. I need a little bit more context, Brian. What's a way to stand out for a recruiter? The way to stand out for a recruiter. Oh, I love when a person came into my office. This is the best applicant. Came into my office, driver's license, social security card, birth certificate, high school diploma. You got all 4 of those ready to go. If you got any medical issues that you know you had medical issues for, you know this is going to be a thing that you and your recruiter talk about, I just go get them. I get everything regarding that medical issue. Like if I broke my leg at 14 years old, I'm going to get all those medical records, show up to my recruiter's office with everything regarding those medical records. I'm also going to study for the ASVAB. I'm going to be prepared to take this ASVAB, because I know that the recruiter is going to set me up for a practice test to see where I'm at. So I'm going to be prepared for that ASVAB. If I am close to my maximum weight, I'm also going to work out prior to seeing a recruiter to get under that maximum weight. I'm going to be in the heightened weight standard for that recruiter. And basically, when I go see a recruiter, I'm not gonna dress like I'm on a interview. You can do that, but it might be doing the most. But I would dress respectfully. Like I won't go like looking like I'm about to go out to the club or something like that. I look like I'm dressing nice. Like it's a nice occasion, and I'm dressing respectfully to come into the recruiter and talk to him. So when I got applicants like that, I already knew like it's gonna be good. But if you don't do those things, I would say at least go to the recruiter with a list of questions. Have any questions, any concerns that you have those already written out, so you and the recruiter can get somewhere if you go sit down with them. Jody, I'm high up there in age, and I might just pick what's given to me. Once my initial contract expires, could I cross-train to my ideal job? How realistic are my chances of getting my ideal job? High up there in age. So 42 is our cutoff now. 42 years old is our cutoff. So as long as you make it to basic training before your 42nd birthday, you are within the age criteria. So if you feel like you're not going to make it to basic training before your 42nd birthday, then you need to just get your foot in the door. If you get your foot in the door later in your career, like I say, at the 13-month mark before you separate, they give you the opportunity to cross train. It's not a guarantee that they'll let you, but they'll at least give you that opportunity to submit a package, and hopefully you get accepted to cross train. Excuse me. Even then, you don't know what jobs will be available. Like when you cross train, oh shoot, my camera's off. I'm sorry, y'all. My camera has a 30-minute lifespan. So every 30 minutes it's gonna turn off, and I gotta get up and turn it on. All right. But no, so yeah, 13 months out, they're going to give you that opportunity to cross train. Like I said, it's no guarantee. What I will say as a recommendation or as a tip is I cross trained into Intel. And the reason why I did it is because there were like 66 positions available. The other cross training opportunities that they had, there was like 2 positions, 3 positions. And I just felt like if I applied for one of those, I wasn't going to get accepted. But I knew with 66 positions available, like I got to get one of them. So getting your ideal job, it still may not happen at the cross training window because I didn't go for my ideal job. I went for a job that I knew I could get, if that makes sense. I got my ideal job when I switched over to recruiting. That was for me. Like, I'm not going to say recruiting is for everybody, but for me, recruiting was my ideal job. It's perfect for me, and I got it. So, man, I am way behind. I don't even know where I'm at. I accidentally scrolled down. Okay, here we go. How to stand out for Air Force IT jobs, Intel. For Air Force IT jobs, have some certifications. If you have any like cyber certifications that can make you stand out. As far as Intel, just have a good ASVAB, man. A good ASVAB. Even for IT jobs as well, have a good ASVAB. There's really no way to stand out for Intel. Like, you have a good ASVAB. Hey, Jody, I'm a green card holder and I'm in a debt. My jobs don't require security clearance and my parents still live overseas. Do you know how long it would take for my background check results? Man, this could be a long time. We had, when I was in the E&E, we had a guy who had come in, and it took him after he got to our base, it took him about a year before he got his clearance. So it varies though. I've seen people get it like within 3 months. For him, it took a year. He's from Guam. It just depends. But I would say be patient with that and don't be alarmed if it takes like over a year. Hey Jody, I'm asking because I know you've got experience as a recruiter and an audience. Have you ever heard of a waiver for? I don't, because I don't even know how to read that. Eosinophilic esophagitis being approved for initial enlistment. Let me Google that real quick. I think my son has that. If it's what my son has, it's the thing where you sometimes you have a hard time swallowing stuff. No philic. Okay, here we go. Is a chronic allergic inflammatory condition of the esophagus that occurs when the immune system overreacts to allergens, causing a buildup of white blood cells. It can affect people at any age, but it's more common by food allergies, acid reflux. I like with any medical condition, I can't tell you if you're going to be able to get in with it. I'm not a doctor, and the doctors are the ones making those approvals. So they basically get your medical records, and based off of your medical records, they're looking to see in your medical records if you would be able to serve. If your medical records say something like, you are choking, I don't know what happens with that condition, but if they say something like you constantly choke, like every 3 months you're in the hospital because food is getting blocked up, you're probably not going to get in. But if they're looking at it and they see that it's just something that you know how to deal with, and it doesn't really affect you in any kind of ways, like any major ways, there's always a possibility, but it's up to that doctor to make that decision. So the best thing I can say is grab all your medical records regarding it, and then get those to a recruiter. Just cross your fingers. Hopefully, everything goes your way. How does the RAPS process work? Can you do it immediately after BMT or after you're operational in your role already? RAP. So you talking about like working with the recruiter assistance personnel. So you could do it not after BMT. No, they are not going to let you go do RAP after you graduate basic training. You have to do RAP after tech school. You have to be a good student, not a good student, but you have to be a well-behaved student in tech school. Meaning like you don't get in any trouble. If you get in any trouble while you're in tech school, you're not going to be approved to do RAP. But if you're a good student, they allow you to get 12 days of RAP. Basically what that means is after you graduate tech school, you can come home from a Monday, starting on a Monday, go through a weekend into the next week Friday. So it's basically 2 weeks of being home with no leave. You can also do that concurrent with your leave. So if you accrued any leave during tech school, you could take your leave with the RAP. So I've seen people be at home as long as like 25 days or 30 days coming home for RAP. After tech school, you can do RAP once a year if the recruiter allows you to. Some recruiters will say no, like because the recruiter's assistance program is a way for you to help your recruiter. It's basically like, how are you going to help me if I let you come home and spend these next 12 days with me? So if they feel like you can't help them, then they probably won't give you the approval to come do RAP with them. But if they feel like you can help them, like you're constantly like hooking them up with people who are potentially want to join, or you got like a network that they like, you can do RAP every year. There's no stop. Do all jobs that require a top secret clearance receive a PAC interview prior to shipping? I was scheduled to get a call, but never got it, and my recruiter said he wasn't sure why that is. So they try to get you all before you go to basic training, but there's a lot of people getting these top secret clearances, and some people leave sooner than others. So not everybody gets that interview prior to going to basic training. Some people have to wait until they get to tech school for that interview or basic training. Aerospace propulsion is just engines here at Moody. Their job does look pretty cool. I'm aircraft structural maintenance, but I'm pushing for OTS. Let's go. What's your true opinion on services? Man, honestly, services is slept on. It's very slept on. And the reason why I say is because services is a cool job. A lot of people kind of like look at services like whatever, but it's a cool job. Like they work at the gym, they work at the chow halls. They can work at I don't know if they still do. I think they used to. They might still work at like work at the hotels, and they also do one of the things they stopped doing. I think it's mortuary affairs. They used to do 4 things, and it went down to 3. I don't know if they dropped the hotels or dropped the mortuary affairs or dropped both. I don't know. But the reason why I say it's cool is because you're getting the same check as everybody else. Like you're getting the same check to make sure that the gym is good. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a cool job. So I would do it if I could. However, most recruiters don't let their applicants do services because they don't have the job. Like it's hard to get a services job. So it ain't rarely does somebody get a services job going into the Air Force from a recruiter. It's just rare. We don't have those jobs. What's up, sir? I'm 28 years old, father and husband, looking to get a new look on life by joining the Air Force Security Forces. Would you be able to articulate to me some of the struggles I might meet? So that, like I say, I cannot because I'm not actually in security forces. From what I hear, though, there's as far as struggles, I'll be honest with you, I hear that there's like long hours in security forces, and then the outdoor extremities. And then it's a little bit more physical than most careers. Like security forces is like the middle ground between the Air Force and like special warfare. So like, regular Air Force, it's not like too physical, too strenuous. Most of the jobs are like careers that are in line with civilian careers. But security forces is like that middle way to like, okay, I'm doing more than like a civilian type of job. I'm doing some hard, strenuous type of work. But it's not special warfare. It's not like the badasses of special warfare. Some security forces members will be mad if they heard me say that. They like, we badass. But they're not like special warfare. But they are that middle way from like the regular Air Force careers to special warfare. Sometimes they even work with special warfare careers. So it's a little bit more strenuous than most Air Force career fields. Can I make rank if I do 6 years in the Air Force? Yeah, I came in a 6-year contract. I was in E3. I was an E4 at the 3-year mark, and I made staff my first time around. So I sold on staff sergeant E5 at like my 4.5-year mark. So you can make E5. I've even seen people make E6 by the end of their 6-year contract. So yeah, you can make rank. Jody, what is the best way to study for the ASVAB? Looking to take it in April. This video is sponsored by no, seriously. I stand on, I fight for study.com. And the reason why I've helped thousands of people pass the ASVAB through study.com. And the reason why is because it's got a bunch of different practice tests. And the practice test is where the studying is made. Like, to me, I feel like you need to know what the test is going to look like. You need to be able to get comfortable with the type of questions that the ASVAB will give you. And taking practice tests after practice tests, I always feel like that's one of the best ways to kind of prepare yourself. Study.com gives you a lot of different practice tests. It also has a lot of different cool learning activities and programs on that website as well. So that is my go-to for telling people how to study. We're going to break it down even further. Math is also one of the biggest things that you should be studying if you want to bump those scores up. Like if you score like a 20, right? You score a 25 on the ASVAB and you want to go from a 25 to like a 45, you can start studying math and within 3 weeks, you can bump that score up from 25 to 45, get you a passing score, get you in the door. Just focusing on math. That is one of my biggest tips to people when they're practicing for the ASVAB. If study.com, normally study.com is I believe it's $60 a month for that program. If that's too much, actually with my code or with my link, it gets you 25% off. So it'll be $45. I think I even got that code or that link in the description of this video. I might not. If I don't, it'll be on another video. And that'll get you a 25% discount for study.com. If that's too much for you still, the ASVAB for Dummies book never fails. The only thing about it is it's a book. Some people just hate, reading books to learn. They want something more engagement, more active. And then if that's too much, the ASVAB for Dummies book is like $15. You can get it. You can get it off of like Amazon. You can even go to a library and rent it out if they have it for free. And if that's too much, then you have the YouTube channel Grammar Hero, I believe it's called. And there's a person who like basically breaks down problems for people who are studying for the ASVAB. I've seen a lot of people say the Grammar Hero is solid. I've never actually used them. I never needed to use them. But I've heard a lot of people say the Grammar Hero is a solid source as well for studying for the ASVAB. But whatever source you choose, focus on the math. Just focus on the math and you will be okay. All right. Jody, Jody, if you can describe with the religious affairs job for the Air Force, how would you, other than priest? So religious affairs isn't necessarily a priest in the enlisted side. Now, if you commission, you're going to be working in the capacity of like a pastor or priest or whatever it is. You're going to be working in that capacity. But if you're in the enlisted side, you're just going to be working side by side with one of those people. You're going to be kind of like their I'm not going to say secretary, but your assistant. You're going to be the religious affairs assistant, and whatever they need help with, you're going to be doing that on the enlisted side. But if you commission and become a religious affairs person, you're going to be basically like a chaplain. That's what we call them in the Air Force. But you're going to be that person who provides those services to members in the Air Force. Greetings, Jody. If you can I already read that. What has been your favorite rank while serving? Senior Airman. Senior Airman easily. Because you don't have, it's like when you finally got good at your job, like you finally, like I'm comfortable. Like I know what I'm doing. Nobody can, question me anymore. I know what I'm doing. And I also don't really have any responsibility. Like I just show up to work, I do my job, and I go home. After you get into E5, now all of a sudden you start having responsibility. You're a supervisor for a couple people. Tech sergeant, you're a supervisor for more people. You got more of a scope on the job too. You're not just coming to work doing your job. You're coming to work kind of running the mission and managing people. And then when you get into the senior enlisted roles, master sergeant, you have an even wider scope. You get paid more all along the way. Like you get paid more each rank you go, but it also comes with a wider scope of responsibility. So senior airman was like the funnest. It was like I'm living. I think I bought I was irresponsible. I don't recommend this, but I think I bought like a senior Challenger as a senior airman. It might have been an E5. It was just an irresponsible thing, but I was feeling myself. You know what I mean? So senior airman was fun. All right, Jody, what changes can we see coming to the force in your opinion, whether that be pay, etc.? You really helped me decide on joining the Air Force. What changes? They're really cracking down on dress and appearance right now. So I feel like during the COVID times, things kind of got really laxed on service members and the way they looked in their uniforms. Like hair, doing whatever with their hair, not even really wearing a uniform right, just looking like a bag of ass. But right now, like they're really like enforcing the dressing appearance. So that is a change that is currently happening right now. Just making sure that people look right in their uniforms. Um, Anything bigger than that, I don't know. I kind of just focus on like my little realm of responsibility. Outside of that, I'm sure there's major changes going on, but I'm just kind of in my own lane at this point. Hey Jody, I'm in a debt right now. I'm a green card holder. I really want to do cyber, but this job is not available for me since I'm not a citizen. Can I change my career after enlistment? Yes. So once you get your top secret, or once you get your clearance, once you once you get your citizenship in the Air Force, and you can expedite that. The expedited citizenship, you should be able to get your citizenship upon graduation of basic training. Once you get that citizenship, that's going to allow you, when you become cross train eligible, it's going to allow you to cross train into any job that requires a citizenship. So if you get yours, then when you hit your cross training window, you can apply. How do weight waivers work nowadays? So they don't have weight waivers. What they do is they extended the body fat measurement. So like they have height and weight requirements, but if you don't meet the height and weight requirements for males 18 to 30 years old, they have a body fat standard of 26%. Like if you're within 26% body fat, and they measure your neck and your waist to determine that, if you're within 26% of body fat, they can let you in. For women, it's 30%. For 18 to 30 year olds, 30%. I think it's 30%. I'm pretty sure it's 30%. So it's not a waiver. It's just using your body fat to determine if you're within regulation. All right, y'all. I'm gonna answer a few more. It's 5:40 Central Time right now for me, and dinner, I can smell it cooking. So I'm gonna go down there and start eating. So I'm gonna answer like 3 more, and then we can end it. And I'm gonna try to do these like once a month. So if I didn't get to your questions, just hold off hopefully until the next time that we go up. If y'all really like this, maybe I can start doing this like 2 times a month. But as it looks, I'm gonna just focus for 1 time a month. Y'all let me know. All right. Hey Jody, sworn to the depth last week. I was wondering, how long do you typically have to wait once you pick your job to go to BMT? It depends. It depends on how available you are. Like let's say that you're very particular on the job that you want. It could take a long time, but if you're trying to meet the Air Force's needs, you can be out basic training from getting sworn into the delayed entry program probably within 3 to 6 months. Jody, last year I went into MEPS and came out needing a medical waiver with the Army. Now I'm going back next Wednesday with the sent by Air Force for another inspection. What can I expect for the second time? So if you initially tried with the Army and it didn't work, now you're going through the Air Force's process and you're trying to get qualified through them. It's basically kind of like starting over. You got to go back through MEPS. You're going to do the same thing with the doctor. This time they're going to take your medical records and they're going to send them off to the Air Force Surgeon General for them to make a determination if you're qualified for the Air Force. So realistically, you might be waiting once you go to MEPS and waiting to hear if you're qualified. You might be waiting anywhere from 15 to 45 days to get that word back. I know I'm going to need a shaving waiver. Do I still have to be clean shaved before I arrive to BMT? I would not, and you still would have to shave. Like, they're not just going to let you just jump off with a shaving waiver. What they're going to do is you're going to shave like that first week. You're going to bump up, and then you're going to go to the doctor and request a shaving waiver. Unfortunately, though, you will have to shave for at least probably like that first or second week. But they're not just going to let you start with a shaving waiver. You gotta show that you do need that shaving waiver. I didn't get a shaving waiver until the second week of basic training. All right, last one, y'all. Um, I was in active duty for 6 years, then went DOD contractor. I would encourage enlistees to knock out your 20 years for retirement. There will always be DOD work. Yes, sir. What's up, Jody? I'm 25, in school at the moment for instrumentation and electrical, getting my AAS. If things don't work out, I'm joining. Do you guys have anything in that area for jobs? AAS, instrumentation and electrical. So you're getting your Associate of Applied Science in instrumentation and electrical. Let me look that up and try to see what that degree entails. Specialized engineering field that focuses on the design, installation, and maintenance of electrical and electronic systems. It's also known as E&I engineering, designing and installing electrical power systems, programming and installing process control systems, selecting and installing. So yeah, they have a couple different careers. It looks like you can use that stuff with. One of them is a CE career, just like an electro or pro power production or something like that. They also have the HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. You also have the E&E job that I did where I worked on aircrafts as an electrician. And you also have avionics, where they work with like components on the aircraft, like your navigation systems, things like that. That would be where I would say you could focus that degree into a specific career with the Air Force. That being said, there's no telling that the Air Force is just going to guarantee that you go into one of those type of jobs. So what I would do is get that associates, bring it to the recruiter and say, hey, I have an associate's in an instrumentation and electrical, and I would like to use that. I would like to use that as a stepping stone into a career into the Air Force. And then they're going to try to look out for you. They're going to try to see if there's any way they can use your education to get you a specific job, but there's no guarantee. So I would definitely keep that in mind. But we always want electrical people. We always want people who want to work in electrical and maintenance. So if you want to do that, you shouldn't have any problems. But all right, y'all. I'm sorry I couldn't get to everything. We are an hour, 7 minutes in. I got to get down with the fam. Like I say, if y'all like this, maybe I can start doing this like twice a month. But as it stands, I'm going to go up again in another month from now. I appreciate y'all coming in. Like I always say, hope this video brought value to you. Stay beautiful, stay classy. And until next time, check me out. I don't even know how to end it. There we go.